What is up, you guys? This is All Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you another build video on the Division. And this build is going to be for a weapon DPS build. It's also a non-classified build. This technically has no set gear on it. It's just a straight build. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the abilities and the gear that I have equipped. So all the gear that I have, this is basically a high-end build with pretty much the Skull MC gloves. It's based around the Skull MC gloves. So the weapon I'm using an LVOAC with the talent, or the lightweight M4 with the talents of destructive, deadly, and brutal. And then I have a classic M60 which has brutal, destructive, and predatory. And then I have my pistol which has destructive and brutal on it. Now, if you have Big Alejandro, I would highly recommend using this one as well instead of Classic M60. The reason why I'm using Classic M60 is because I get 200, you have 220 in the mag, and then the talents are also really good, brutal, destructive, and predatory. Big Alejandro, the talents I have on it are pretty good, except I would rather trade Fierce out with destructive, because I don't have the electronics for Fierce, so it's basically I only have two talents on Big Alejandro. But Big Alejandro is a really good weapon because of its special talent that it has. So it has cover shooter. Every bullet fired at an enemy from cover increases weapon damage by 0.5% up to 50%. The bonus lasts for 10 seconds. Getting a kill with this weapon while in cover resets the duration. The bonus damage is cancelled by reloading, swapping weapons, or exiting combat. So this build also is revolved around being in cover. So that's why Big Alejandro would really be useful for this specific build. For the high-end gear pieces that I have, so I have my chest piece. It has the talent called Robust. Robust, it says increase armor while in cover by 10%, and then I have firearms on it as its main attributes or main stats, and then I put 2 stamina mods in, and those 2 stamina mods also have skill power and health, so I can have a little bit of skill power for myself for health or pulse or whatever it is that I'm using with my skills. Major attributes, I have health, enemy armor damage, and minor attributes, I have ammo capacity. You always want to make sure you have the ammo capacity if you're using weapon DPS or using a weapon DPS build. My backpack, I have the operator backpack. It's the specialized talent. It says adds 200% firearms and stamina to skill power. So it takes an account of whatever your firearms is and your stamina, and then it makes it into, it puts it into towards your skill power. So that right there I found was honestly the best one to use. It says, yeah, so you get that 200% bonus from your firearms, your stamina together. And then my major attributes, I have crit damage, 8% crit damage, and then minor attributes I have ammo capacity. And then I put one stamina mod, and then for the performance mod I put 2 first aid self heals. And then I also put the firearms as my main attribute or main stat on my backpack. And then for the mask, you can go with the Tenacious mask, you can go with Rehabilitated, or you can even go with Pharaoh's Oxygen mask. The reason why I went with Tenacious is because I get 10%. You get a 10% damage increase for 10 seconds whenever you use a medkit. And I have 1231 firearms for its base, and then I put a stamina mod on with 3217 health on it. And then for my major attributes, I have 3.5% crit chance and then 13% increased kill XP. For my Pharaoh's Oxygen mask, the Pharaoh's Oxygen mask, it says user can run and shoot their weapon while burning. So that means you can run around and you don't have to pat yourself if you're on fire. You'll just be able to keep shooting regardless. You still do take damage from fire though, so keep that in mind. You're not invulnerable to fire. But also I got crit chance on it, and then I have blind defense, blind deaf resistance. And then rehabilitated is a good mask. I don't have it on me, but I believe that's the one where if you take status effect, you gain 2% health regen for about 10 seconds or somewhere around there. But it's only if you get hit with the status effect. So if you're stunned or if you're blind or um, I guess on fire or disoriented, so on and so on, you get 2% health back per second for that. So that's a really good mask to have as well. And then for the knee pads, it doesn't matter what knee pads you have because both high-end knee pads are they're okay. Prosperous, I don't really care for at all for the talent. Headshot kills grant credits. I would recommend using the other knee pads. I don't remember what it was, but you get triple that accolades whenever you get a kill. And then short bow championship pads are also actually really good too. Um, the stats on them are a little different. So this one I have was put with firearms as my main attribute. I have it maxed out with its firearms, and then I put a stamina mod on it. And then my short bow championship pads, I put the stamina mod. I have stamina as its main attribute, and then electronics as its mod. I put a mod for electronics. The major attributes I have is health on it, and then on my other one, well, both of them have health on them. My minor attributes doesn't really matter. You can have, I put resistance, or I left the resistance alone because having more resistance to those different, things is gonna help. Damage to elites is definitely gonna be a really good one I have though, if you can get that. And then my holster, I have sturdy, increases armor by 15% when staying more than 4 seconds in the same cover. So you go into cover, you're in the same cover for 4 seconds, you're getting an increase in your armor by 15%. And then you also have to take into account of being in cover in the first place, you get that 10%. So you're looking at 25% armor increase in total. And then you have the Skull MC gloves. So the Skull MC gloves is what's going to matter the most about this whole build. Damage increased by 16% when you have no set bonuses that are active. So even if you were to use Skull MC gloves and then you were to use a Ninja Bike messenger bag and then you wanted to use like striker harness or something, if you use that, your Skull MC gloves will not activate. It's not going to work because you have a set piece that's active. So that's why you want to make sure you get the when you use Skull MC gloves, try to get all your gear to have the high-end perks, or you could even get exotics. The only exotic that won't really work would be the Ninja Bike backpack. But other than that, the Skull MC gloves are going to be the best choice. Major attributes, you don't want to go for shotgun damage. Health on kill is nice. Crit chance is nice. You generally want to go for stats like this one: enemy armor damage, crit chance, and crit damage. So those are the 3 stats you want for your major attributes on pretty much any of your, I suppose, any DPS builds. You want to have crit chance, crit damage, and enemy armor damage. And then for the abilities, so like I said, that's just all the gear. Your high-end gear is built around your MC skull gloves. You're also going to be wanting to use the robust and sturdy, so that way you can get the 25% armor increase when you're in cover. You'll get the 15% when you're in cover for 4 seconds, but other than that, I mean, you're going to be able to take a lot more hits than you normally would. And like I said, you would also want to make sure you have Big Alejandro, because that's going to also come in handy, because this one makes use of you being in cover. It gives you more damage while you're in cover. Now for the abilities, if you're solo, Pulse and First Aid are definitely going to be the go-tos. Now if you're in a group, I would highly recommend something like maybe a First Aid and then Sticky Bomb Flashbang, or Seeker Mine Gas Charge. Probably not too much because of the Seeker Mine Gas Charge, because it is almost a 50-second cooldown. But the sticky bomb flashbang is always going to be super useful to have. It's only it's about 41-second cooldown for me. You can also use the turret with the the zapper or shock turret, mainly because it'll shock the enemies, and it's just gonna be useful. Anything that does CC effects is gonna help you. You don't want something that's gonna be based off of only doing damage. So you don't want to have a sticky bomb or a seeker mine clusters or sticky bomb BFB or turret active sensors or really anything like that. You can have a support station because support station helps regardless of being, a healer or not. But like I said, you want to mainly have a build that can support a team when it comes to CC effects. You want to have good CC effects, crowd control effects, because your skill power is pretty low, will be pretty low, and you're not going to be able to put out as much damage or be as effective with the skill power. You want the people that have the skill power be the ones using the skill power abilities, mainly because you have the DPS with your weapons. Now for your talents, you have triage, critical save, one is none, and then steady hands. You can also go with precision if you don't want to go with triage, because triage is going to give you a 15% skill cooldown reduction, but if you're playing solo, I guess you won't need triage. Precision is going to be the one that you're going to want to go for. Headshot a hostile, pulse them for 10 seconds. So whenever you headshot an enemy, you get a pulse. That pulse is going to be based off of your basic pulse, not whatever other pulse. It's not going to be based off of recon, scrambler, or tactical. It's just going to be the base pulse. So that means you'll be getting 11.6% crit chance and 11.6% crit damage. So precision will definitely help you out. You can also go with when on the move if you do tend to move around a bit. Get a kill while you're on the move and then go into cover, so you get that additional 15% incoming damage reduction and then the extra armor for going into cover. But that's pretty much this whole build, honestly. It's just your basic high-end build. It's not anything super special, but this build, I guess, is mainly a cover-based high-end DPS build. So I don't think you could. I mean, I guess you could use this PvP. I say this all the time. A lot of my builds probably can't be used or can be used in PvP. I just never do PvP, so I can't say if you can or can't. But in PvE, I can definitely tell you that this is a really strong build. I've been able to melt enemies in legendary mode with 4 players on the team. I've been able to take down enemies pretty quick with this. Especially with the M60, classic M60 with these specific talents, it definitely helps out a lot, especially when you have 220 shots in the mag, or rounds in the mag. But yeah, that's pretty much it with this video. If this helped you at all, go leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns about any of this or anything, let me know down in the comment section. If you have any tips as well that would help me out or help other players out, you can also drop that down in the comment section as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is All Danny Day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.